Welcome back, SethBling here, and today Mojang released Minecraft Snapshot 15w34a, which the main thing that I care about, of course, it's got new types of command blocks. I'm going to explain these to you during the video, and they actually, I think, make command blocking a bit more intuitive. There's also some combat changes, so I've got some like gear set up, and there's also been some changes to maps, although they are a little bit broken in this snapshot. But I'll show you what they've got so far. Okay, so here we've got a standard command block. It has /say hi in it. That's, says hi. So if you hit this lever, it's going to say hi. Here we have a different colored command block. And you'll notice there's this button at the bottom of each command block. No matter which command block you have, there's a button, but it says different things. This is chain. You can switch you can switch command blocks between these different types. And so this is a chain command block. It has /say hi in the command. If I activate it, it does nothing, which is pretty great. And then here's this one set on repeat, and so they each have a different color. If I activate this one, it spams my chat with hi, and you notice even if I say like test in the chats, it goes away very quickly because this command block is spamming hi 20 times per second. Every single tick, it's spamming it. So that's what a repeat command. So this is very obvious what it does. This is like what we used to use clocks for, although now they're no longer necessary. Okay, so what do chain blocks do? This one, when you flip the lever, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything at all. Well, you have to use it in a chain. Still, you may have noticed already that command blocks have an orientation. There's a direction on the sides of the blocks that say which direction is pointing. In the front of the block, there's like a circular little a circular little thing here, and then there's a square on the back. By the way, take a moment to note that the texture is now animated, has changing colors. Pretty cool. Okay, so these are forming a chain because you can see each command block is pointing into the next command block, and the chain just kind of ends here. So if I turn this one on, these all say 1, say 2, say 3. If I turn this one on, you'll notice the chat is now filled with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means all the command blocks are running every single tick, and they're running, and you can't even see. It's spamming it so much that you can't even see the text that I'm typing. You'll notice that they are in order, right? It's the first one in the chain, the second one in the chain, third one in the chain, fourth, fifth, and so if I turn off the clock, then it stops spamming them, and you can tell that because the chat is no longer moving really fast. And these are also all levers that are powered on. So you have to have power for each of these things in the chain. If I turn them off, let's see what happens. So let's turn on the clock. You'll notice only one is filling up the chat again. So none of these commands are working. But if I go ahead and turn one of these on, say I turn the next one in the chain on, it'll say 1, 2. Kind of cool is that you don't have to have all of them on for later ones in the chain to be activated. So this one is activating all of them. And if I power this one, now it says 1, 5, because first and fifth one are being activated. The second, third, and fourth aren't running their commands, but they are passing along the signal that goes to this fifth command block and tells it to run its command. So that's pretty cool. Definitely very useful. And sort of the way we would have done this before is we would have a clock like this. Let me place this. You can see it's doing the exact same thing that the other command block contraption was doing. It's using like some fill commands to place redstone blocks and stone alternatingly in here. This is a lot more CPU intensive. It means it uses up more of your processor, and it also takes up a bit more space, and it's also much less intuitive. Like, you need 2 of these command blocks, and if they get unloaded and they're in different chunks, sometimes they'll break. There's problems. Whereas this one here really isn't going to break, and it's much more intuitive. You don't need any special commands. So it's a very nice change that I think makes working with command blocks a lot more intuitive. And you'll notice the other cool thing about this is the order in which these get executed is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's based on the coordinate system of Minecraft. And I know how that works, but it's kind of difficult to explain to a new command block user how that order works. It's not that difficult, but it's definitely not like super intuitive. So now with these chains, it's very intuitive, because if you want to continue adding more things in the order, you just like keep pointing things in the direction that you want to continue the chain. And it's just very obvious where the next command is going to be issued in that chain. So you can do some kind of cool things like with this. Here we have, none of these commands are filled. These are all actually empty, except for the commands at the end of each branch, which say left and say right, respectively. And these are powered by levers over here. If I activate this one, it's going to move down the chain and activate the left branch. And so it says, wait, yes, it says say left. Why was it? Oh, I see. Powering on is this direction for this lever. Okay, so every time I activate it, it says left. But if I just change this one command block in the branch to point right instead, it will activate the right branch. And if I say make it point this direction, it's going to activate neither branch. So you can kind of change which whole branch is being activated by moving this command block around. Now notice that I accidentally placed it facing upwards. This follows the same placement rules as pistons, so you have to be really careful, and you have to make sure you check that things got placed like you thought they got placed. Otherwise you can end up with, it can be kind of frustrating, you pulling your hair out, not really noticing that it's not going the direction you thought it was going. All right, so here's something else cool you can do with it. Here we've got, this is just a normal clock. It doesn't actually have anything in it. And here we've got a clone command that basically clones these two blocks, one block that direction. So it's going to clone these two blocks to here, and then the next tick, the clock is going to activate further down the chain. And they're going to keep pointing this direction because this one's pointing that direction. And so if I activate it, see, it goes pretty quickly off to infinity. Well, it'll stop when it reaches unloaded chunks, but sort of like clones itself, and each tick, the new signal travels one block farther down the chain because there's an extra block to activate. So this was definitely not nearly so easy to do before, because whenever you clone a block, it's not going to like run the command. But yeah, so this is I think a pretty cool feature. And then the last thing I want to show you about this is, so here we have say 1, say 2, say 3, say 4, say 5. But of course, there's only one lever here, so if I activate this, only the 1 is going to be shown. But a cool trick that you can do, Sarge pointed this out to me, is to use block data to force it to be powered. So if I block data tilde -1 tilde, I can look at the data tags that are here, and there is a powered data tag there. So if I do powered 1b, it'll turn on the powered state of this command block. And so now it thinks that it's powered even though there's no like lever or redstone block powering it. And so each of these 4 blocks are now going to run if they're triggered by a previous block in the chain. And so this really only works for chain blocks, but it's pretty cool because it means you don't have to have 2 blocks per command anymore, as long as you're willing to run through and set the block data on each of these. You can just set it on, you can set the block data and then have them run. And so it's very compact, and you can actually pack things very tightly. But you do have to worry about things like if I just put another block next to this one, notice the 3 stops running because the powered state resets itself. It checks to see that if there's any powered redstone nearby, and it sees there isn't. And so block updates can affect these. And so if I update each of them, it'll turn them back off. So that is something to be careful and look out for. But if you're just placing redstone once and leaving it alone, it's a pretty good option. So that's the new command blocks in the new snapshot. There's a lot of stuff you can do with this, and I've kind of only scratched the surface here. But pretty cool and much more intuitive, I think, for new players. Let's take a look at some of the new features with combat. Let me put on some armor. Go to game mode 0. So there are definitely some new features. So I've got my shield. This was from the previous snapshot. So you'll notice next to my hotbar, there's like a little thing that fills up every time I attack. This is the attack strength meter, and there's like a little indicator there for that. You can actually go to your video settings and change that to be next to your crosshair, or you can turn it off. So there's crosshair, hotbar, or off. Let's put it next to the crosshair to see what that looks like. So every time I attack, there's a little icon that sort of fills up. And so what that does is it decreases the amount of damage until it fully recharges. I'm not exactly sure if there's an equation like if the meter's half full, do you deal half damage? I'm not sure. I haven't done enough testing to really know. but that is something you could look out for. What I do know is here, if you watch, like, it takes a lot of hits to kill this zombie, right? Because I'm not letting it fully recharge. But if I just hit him once, let it fully recharge, hit him again, let it fully recharge, third hit kills him. So it definitely is affecting the damage that I'm doing. I don't think it's affecting the knockback that these mobs are taking, though. So you can see he's taking pretty, well, it's pretty hard to see through the fire, but taking pretty normal damage. Actually, I have a sheep over here, although there are some shulkers. Anyway, that's basically the change, and it's not even close to done from what Dinnerbone says. But it's definitely the purpose there is to prevent you from just spamming your attack in PvP. Now, something kind of interesting that you can do is block hitting used to be a thing, and it's changed now. I guess you could still attack and then block and then let down your guard for a second and kind of like do a quick switch, but you don't want to spam anymore like you used to. You actually have to like time it with the hotbar, I guess. Anyway, it's definitely going to change the way combat works, though in what way is unclear, and especially since the feature is unfinished. Alright, so I do have some shulkers over here. There's just a couple of things left in the video. Shulkers in minecarts now works correctly. If I give them a push, you can see it follows the rail correctly. Yeah, okay. Just wanted to show that because that is something that didn't work before, but it's something you really kind of want to work because shulkers are so hard to transport around. Minecarts are definitely the easiest way to transport shulkers around. So that's cool that that's fixed. And then the last thing is just I want to mention, I don't know if this is a bug or what, but the old giant mob seems to have no model anymore. You can see there's still a shadow, and I can still give him a whack with the sword. F3 plus B, I turn on the bounding boxes. You can see there's something there, but I think this is probably a bug. I don't know. I'm not sure if this was intentional or not. But giants have not really seen much usage in the game anyway, so I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted to remove them. Anyway, that's pretty much it for Snapshot 15w34a. Wait, that's not it. There's one more thing. There's maps. There's maps. So they did change some things about maps. Ooh, that was a close one. I almost just ended the video. So maps. Okay, so let's craft a map. Now the default zoom level of the map is not all the way zoomed in anymore. So let's right click, and I have a map. And you can see I only have mapped out a small area because the default scale is now 1:4. Okay, so that means one block is, or sorry, 4 blocks are represented by 1 pixel, or a 4x4 area of blocks, I guess. Now maps are super buggy in the snapshot. You notice, well, I guess there is an indicator on the map now. There wasn't last time. This is interesting. Let's try crafting a new map because I definitely have noticed some buggy behavior. So let's try making the map bigger. This works as normal. And if I look at it, whoa, there was some weird texture there for a second. Had like text on it. Anyway, the indicator's gone. The player indicator's gone, and this is a bug. But you can also decrease the zoom of the map. So now it's 1:8. We can put it back to 1:4 by using shears with the map. And it does use up a durability on the shears. Let's take a look at the map again. Again, it's now like centered on a different location than it was before. And let's see if I can figure out. Yeah, so I can sort of explore it still, but there's still no player indicator. So you can. This is how you can zoom in on the map. You couldn't zoom in a map before, but it's still very buggy, and there's problems because the player indicator is gone. I don't even know where the map is centered. So yeah, I would have to look at the NBT data for the map to figure out where it's centered, or just explore a lot. So it's pretty buggy, but the point is that you can use shears to zoom in on a map, which is pretty cool. I'm not sure how you're going to be able to control, like, let's say you have a map, and I mean, when you zoom in on a map, it basically picks one of the 4 quadrants to zoom in on. And so it'd be nice if I could say, okay, zoom in on the top right quadrant or something, but I don't know if there's going to be a way to do that. I hope there is, because otherwise it'll be kind of hard to zoom in like you want to. But I kind of suspect it'll be something in the crafting table. Like you craft it in different positions depending on which quadrant of the map you want. Anyway, that I think will do it for the snapshot overview. I think I got everything this time. If you want to see some more details, I put some links in the video description so you can check out some of the changelog. There were also some bugs fixed and stuff like that. Dinnerbone claims there's a 15% CPU improvement, which is pretty cool. My frame rates, I think, has gone up a little bit. It's being locked to 60, but yeah, I think it maybe has improved a little bit. But yeah, so check that out if you are interested. And otherwise, thanks for watching.